तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः.
Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavivireeditam Kalmashāpaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadātatam Bhuvi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, chapter 24, Pandit Shashadhar, Wednesday, June 25, 1884. And we read a little, but we are going back to where the Pandit met him. From that point, we'll pick up. So, we read from here, page 464 in English. Okay. Bengali 467 from the beginning. The Pandit saluted the master with reverence. Narendra, Rakhal, Ram, Hazra and M, who had come with the master, seated themselves in the room as near the master as they could, anxious not to miss one of his words. Now, yesterday, because of this comma, we connected these two things. They sat near because they did not want to miss his word. But these two are independent also. That means, imagine God, Avatar, sitting as near as him as possible itself is a great thing. And in addition to that, they do not want to miss his words. But people who are sitting at a little distance will also catch his words. But they want to sit near as possible to Sri Ramakrishna. So that is an additional factor. At the sight of the Pandit, the master again went into Samadhi. So master, as soon as he had entered that room, he had gone into Samadhi. So at the sight of the Pandit, the master again went into Samadhi. Now this Samadhi seems to be a higher state of consciousness from where he would be able to see the inside of the Pandit. So that is his Samadhi. Because we see after that, after a while, still remaining in that state. So this is not Nirvikal Samadhi. He looked at the Pandit and said with a smile, very well, very well. That means he has seen the Pandit from inside. Understood? So that is the thing. Then addressing the Pandit, the master said, tell me how you give lectures. So I discussed the background of this, that here in the above para, that Shashadhar used to describe the various aspects of Orthodox Hinduism through physical science. The meaning of this stuffed up hair tikki is like this current and that current, and when you put on the sacred thread, this current, like that he used to display. And people were charmed. Swami Vivekananda wanted to know how far this is correct. And so he had told Sri Ramakrishna to meet the Pandit. And that is how Thakur has come. So now I want to know how you, tell me how you give lectures. Pandit, sir, I tried to explain the teachings of the Hindu scriptures. He has not added through physical science. But this much. And Thakur starts talking. Thakur has seen him from inside and he has heard one sentence from him, and Thakur has understood his shortcomings as well as assets. There are some assets, that is why Thakur said very well, very well. But after this sentence, Thakur will go on instructing him what is the defect, how it will function positively. So Master starts immediately this one sentence. Master, for the Kali Yuga, the path of devotion described by Narada is best. That means he is prescribing some other path. And he is prescribing the Vedic Karmakanda. That's what Thakur refers to next. So at the outset, Thakur says, Thakur's constant theme is that one should love God. And when love is developed, everything will automatically follow the spiritual progress, right up to its culmination. So Thakur at the outset tells him that for the Kali Yuga means man's mind is become weak. He does not have that strength of mind and character. So that is the Kali Yuga. So this is not something eternal. There was a time when the Vedic Karmakanda was valid, but not now. Where can people find time now to perform their duties according to the scriptural injunctions? So here duties do not mean the normal worldly duties. Scriptural injunction, the work according to scriptural injunction. Immediately. In original Bengali, duty is not there. Shastre je sakal karmer katha ache tar samay. I told you yesterday about it. Nobody in this world these days can follow the Vedic rituals. That very specific instruction, the Yajna-Vedi should have such dimensions. This karma to be performed under this constellation. This type of ahuti is to be given. And so many things. So those things to be followed at this point is not possible. Where can people find time? Because nowadays, all people are having jobs. You see, according to the old methods in India, they didn't go to office at 10 o'clock or even earlier. Whole day was divided into karmakanda. So that was the work they were doing. Nowadays, the decoctions of roots and herbs of the Orthodox Hindu physicians cannot be given to a fever patient. So he gives a simile. The Ayurveda prescribes this thing, roots and herbs. They used to prepare medicine and give to the patient. By the time that kind of medicine begins its slow process of curing, the patient is done for. Therefore, only a drastic medicine like the allopathic fever mixture is effective now. Fever mixture, ready mixture, just give it. Not to prepare medicine and give. You may ask people to practice scriptural rites and ritual. Still clear. Here, two words are mentioned, so something is there. Only one thing, karma. You may ask people to practice scriptural rites and rituals, but when prescribing the rituals, remove the head and tail. While prescribing itself, remove the head and tail. That means a lot of preparatory or unessential part is there in those rites and rituals. So remove that. While teaching itself, don't confuse people with that. I tell people not to bother about the elaborate rituals of the Sandhya as enjoined in the scriptures. So about Sandhya, sit in this particular way, take this achaman, that is how it starts. And then chant this mantra, invoke the goddess of the mantra, so many things are included. But the purpose is to chant Gayatri. I say that it will be enough for them to repeat the Gayatri alone. That is the purpose. So you can sit quietly, concentrate the mind and chant Gayatri. If you must give instruction about scriptural ceremonies, full, do so only to a very few, like Ishan. So there may be a few who can follow. Ishan is not working or serving. He has sufficient money. And he is addicted to rituals and he derives benefit from them. So there will be a few people always. That is Thakur's Catholicity. He does not condemn anything outright. There is a scope for that also, but very few. You may deliver thousands of lectures. Now, next point. That means what he preaches, on that Thakur has given the correction. Now, the very fact that he teaches, Thakur finds fault with. You may deliver thousands of lectures, but they won't make the slightest impression on worldly people. Here also, the adhikari, listener, and also the lectures. So, if you want to convey something, they should follow that. They should be impressed by that. So, if they are worldly people, your lectures won't make the slightest impression on worldly people. Your lecture and worldly people. Can one drive a nail into a stone wall? So Thakur simile is par excellence. You see, you can hit a nail in a brick wall, but not in a stone wall. Shankar has given this simile in this very context. in a slightly different context, that suppose one has gone beyond karma and has the Vedantic consciousness, then he is beyond these instructions. For that he says that if you hit a nail into a stone wall, the knee will bend. The knee, what is that? Huh. No, there is name. Nail. Nail will bend and fall down, not going to the wall. Because he is beyond injunctions now. Vedic injunctions are there, but they are ineffective in a man of knowledge.
That's different context. They are different. What is it?
This is a different thing, but simile is same. Understood? That if a man of knowledge is not under any injunction, there he has given the example. Injunction may be there, but it will be as ineffective as this. The point of the nail will sooner break than make a dent in the stone. What will you gain by striking the tough skin of the crocodile with a sword? Another example. Crocodile's skin is very tough. So may hit by sword also it will not cut. That is below the level, that is higher the level. The sadhu's water ball made from the shell of a bitter gourd may visit the 4 principal holy places of India with its owner, but it will still remain as bitter as ever. Another example. Now the bitter gourds must have been thick and big in size to make the kamandulu out of it. Kamandulu was made out of not metal, that bitter gourd. Your lectures are not helping worldly people very much straight away. So it may be helping a little for people like Ishan. And you will realize this by and by. So the preacher will realize that my thing is ineffective. Because in that zeal of defending Hinduism, you are going on giving lectures. But after a long time, gradually you will realize that it is not effective. The calf cannot stand on its legs all at once. Now it drops to the ground and now it stands up. So it learns to stand firmly on its legs and walk. So in this way. So the ordinary man is incapable of receiving the Vedas. You cannot distinguish a lover of God from a worldly person. So you have not yet gained that introspection. Adhikari Bhed is a very important teaching of Hinduism. Adhikari Bhed does not depend on anything outside. Brahmin, Kshatriya, learned, fool, money man, poor man, no. Sri Purush, no. But the mental condition that determines the adhikar. And according to each man's adhikar, if you give instruction, they immediately catch it. Example I have given elsewhere, you understood. A man in England sees that many poor people in the winter, they suffer badly. So he got hundreds of woolen coats of one size made. And whoever wants, take it. Now, if it is fitting for somebody, they will benefit. If it is loose, wear that loose. And if it's short, then cut your hands and feet so that it will fit. If he had purchased a lot of woolen cloth and a tailor Then each person comes, the teller takes his measurement and stitches the coat and gives to him. Then it is useful. So this is another uniqueness of Thakur, though it is embedded in Hinduism. Adhikari, slight difference, Thakur can teach you according to that state of the mind. But for that, the first thing is that you should be able to judge that exact state of the mind. And if the state changes, the instruction changes. How many examples you have seen? When Mahapurush Maharaj first visited Thakur, Thakur was in Nilukal Samadhi. And after Samadhi, he was talking only on Samadhi that day. Now Mahapurush Maharaj is hankering for Nilukal Samadhi. So he could immediately understand it. Balram Bose was a Vaishnava. Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. So when he visited Thakur, Thakur was exactly like that. And after Balaram progressed, one day, while meditating, a mosquito bit him. So instinctively he thought he will smash that mosquito. But the Vaishnava sanskara is out. Is it right to kill a mosquito? So in that Brahm delusion, he said, I will go to my Guru and ask. So he started going to Thakur. Now, in the way he thinks, I have never seen Thakur eating even this smallest thing. Because only of my sanskar I am going unnecessary. But okay, visiting the Guru is always good, so he went. And when he went there, Thakur was taking out the bugs from his pillow and smashing. And said, they don't allow me to sleep, not meditate. So everything flashed in Balram. That at the state of the mind, what is necessary, it should be. And see, he was getting disturbed in meditation by a mosquito. And Thakur said, they do not allow me to sleep. And he was smashing people. So, according to state of the mind, Thakur's instruction. So, Balram was stunned that all these years I have not seen him doing that. And today, in answer to my question. Now, all this was possible for Thakur because he could judge people. At that point, at every point. And this Thakur has understood that Shashadhar is simply giving lectures without judging the minds of the people. So Thakur is pointing out, you cannot distinguish a lover of God from a worldly person. Thakur says not lectures, particularized instruction. In the gospel itself we get, all may be sitting, but this is telling Hadra, that is telling Narendra, that is telling Bhavana, is clearly mentioned everywhere. Shall I give an example which I have seen? My Guruji. Now, one of my friends, PhD in botany, when I joined, he came to visit me or visit the ashram and meet Guruji. Now, my Guruji made him sit on the chair and was telling him that the reality you deal with in physical science is a relative concept. And in spiritual life, what we are dealing with is absolute. So difference in absolute and relative we are telling. At that time, one Bengali lady, very restless outside the gate of the room. I was there with my, so I understood that she is very eager to enter in. So I asked her, you come in. And told Maharaj only one Bengali lady has come to sell it. My friend wanted to get her. Maharaj said, sit down. That lady entered and touched his feet. And Maharaj started talking. Faith is the main thing. What happened? Her husband was transferred. Now that lady, all these days, the support of the ashram is there. Now we are going to a different place. What will happen to me? That was her question. She never asked any question. As soon as he touched his feet, he said, Mother, faith is all, faith is all. Wherever you go, Thakur is there also. Have faith. And she was very much satisfied that trouble or problem in her mind went away. Influence. And very happily, she nodded her head and went away. As soon as she goes away, my teacher turns to my friend. Understood what I was telling? The difference between the absolute truth and the relative. That means seamless change. That is the sign one can understand. It isn't your fault, of course. Why is not fault? Because you have got a zeal to preach. When the first onrush of the gale strikes the trees, it is impossible to distinguish one tree from another, the mango from the tamarind, for instance. Because so much storm, you cannot understand whether it is mango tree or tamarind. Like that, because of the onrush of your emotion, you are talking like that. So you are not at fault, means your mind is made like that. Without having realized God, one cannot give up rituals altogether. Now, about rituals. Rituals are valid till you realize God. After you realize God, rituals have no value. Thakur has shown in his life, Galita Karma Avastha, when his mother passed away, he wanted to pay simple Jala Argya. He entered the Ganges and as he tried to hold the water, his fingers spread and it slipped. So I am the doer is impossible in the state of knowledge. He is putting it the other way around. Without having realized God, one cannot give up rituals altogether. No, altogether. See, this also is Thakur speciality. That, you see, they are not watertight compartments. When we read Gita or Shankar Bhashya, we feel up to this karma, after that knowledge. It is not like that. Thakur's example is that conception, dharana, is the start. And dharana is comparable to garbhadharana. That also is called dharana. And Thakur says when garbhadharana happens, the more the garbha grows, the elderly people in the house reduce karma that much gradually. And when the time of delivery is very near, no karma. And after delivery, she lives with the child itself. This is the exact description. So when the concept becomes riper and riper, turns into anubhuti, then karma is reduced. And when the final delivery is about to take place, no karma. And after delivery, that means when the God is realized, then you are always with God. So that is the unique example. So here we see, without having realized God, one cannot give rituals altogether. How long should one practice the sandhya and other forms of ritualistic worship? as long as one does not shed tears of joy at the name of God and feel a thrill in one's body. That is that Jnana Nishtha or Bhakti Nishtha, all are same. You are experiencing God, yet to realize. So till then, karma goes on. You will know that your ritualistic worship has come to an end when your eyes become filled with tears as you repeat Om Rama. Then you do not have to continue your Sandhya or other rituals. So this demarcation, Thakur is teaching you. He does not know. Preaching same thing to everybody. Simile after simile. When the fruit appears, the blossom drops off. Blossom means flowers. In mango and in margosa, we see that. Blossom, then it drops off, fruit comes. Love of God is the fruit. So it comes back to that. Experience the love of God. And rituals are the blossom. When the daughter-in-law, that thing has come. When the daughter-in-law of the house becomes pregnant, I think if the same word could have been used, it would have been better. When the daughter-in-law of the house conceives, anyway, becomes pregnant, she cannot do much work. Her mother-in-law gradually lessens her duties in the house because elderly people know. When her time arrives, she does practically nothing. Practically nothing means a little karma is there, but not much. And after the child is born, her only work is to play with it. Unique actually. She doesn't do any household duties at all. Now another way of putting the same thing. The Sandhya merges in the Gayatri. Sandhya is a ritual made for chanting Gayatri. But when the mind progresses, then rituals are not necessary. Sandhya means Sandhya Vandana, the worship to be done at the point of Sandhya. And the purpose is to chant Gayatri. So when the mind becomes right, you do not perform that Vandana already as you just can chant Gayatri. So the Sandhya merges in the Gayatri. The Gayatri is Om. Now, beginning and end of Gayatri is Om. Om is the direct, nearest, dearest name of Sagun Nirgun Brahma. So, Gayatri is praising the Hiranyagarbha, Sagun Brahma. Gayatri has three parts. First is statement of fact. Om Bhur Swaha. Means Om or God pervades the earth, the intermediate space, and the heavens. Second part is meditation. Sun is taken as the symbol. As one sun illumines everybody's vision. So, one Hiranyagarbha, the Antaryami, supplies consciousness to all. Our buddhis function only when the consciousness is reflected there. So, my online class is going on. So, so we, plural, meditate upon the shine of the sun, which illumines all and which is adorable. That is the wording. The spiritual meaning is we meditate upon that consciousness which is a reflection of Hiranyagarbha, which illumines our buddhi. The third part is a prayer. Yo yona prachodaya. May he kindle our intellect. It is almost like Thakur's Chaitanya. Kindle our intellect means make it understand that inner reality. This is the Gayatri. So the essence of Gayatri is Om. Om means God. Understood now? So Sandhya merges in Gayatri, it is a mantra. And Gayatri merges in Om. When the mind is attuned to God, then Gayatri merges in. We need not think he is operating, he is meditating, he is prayer. So our mind is concentrated in God. Om. This was the first day's talk. When Master Mahashaya entered Thakur's room, he was talking like this to the assembled devotees. And Om means Samadhi. Chanting as Om is meant to concentrate in God. And when that happens, Om also is dropped. It is like the sound of a bell. From distance, bell sound is coming. It is called Anahata Dhvani, root of Om. The yogi, by following in the trail of the sound of Om, gradually merges himself in the Supreme Brahman. This is called worship of the Nada Brahman. And following the trail of that, he merges into Him. His Sandhya and other ritualistic duties disappear in Samadhi. Thus, the duties of the Jnani come to an end. So, whole process he has described. That he should know. As the master talked of Samadhi, he himself went into that state that was Thakur's always there. He is not only talking. His face radiated a heavenly light. So now it is not that Samadhi, it is gone. Bereft of outer consciousness, he could not utter another word. His gaze was indrawn and transfixed in communion with the self. After a long time, the master began to recognize the world around him and said like a child, I shall have a drink of water. No, but like child, Master Mahashaya said. But Thakur has said that my mind jumps into Samadhi again and again. To hold it down, I hold some small desire in my mind. Like I shall drink water, I shall smoke, I shall talk to so and so. Then the mind is able to come down. From this we understand, if Thakur's mind could come down from Samadhi by some small innocent desire, if we harbor innocent small desire, where our mind will go. So in desires, we should not distinguish small desire. That has the same capacity to pull us down. I shall have a drink of water. Whenever after Samadhi the master asked for a drink of water, his devotees knew that he was gradually becoming conscious of the outer world. Still lingering in the state of ecstasy, he said to the Divine Mother, so he is talking inside now. Oh Mother, the other day you showed me Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. Then I told you that I should like to see another Pandit. And so you have brought me here. So we love the mother. and will of the mother and Thakur's will is same. So I said to you, and this has happened. Looking at the Pandit, he said, my child, now he is addressing you as my child. That awe of a big Pandit coming is gone. My child, add a little more to your strength. That means spiritual practices. Practice spiritual discipline a few days more. You have hardly set your foot on the tree, yet you expect to lay hold of a big cluster of fruit. But of course, you are doing all this for the welfare of others. So that much part is all right. With these words, he bowed his head before the Pandit. He saw divinity in the Pandit and unselfishness in the Pandit, so he bowed low. So he has absolutely no trace of ego. If he sees any quality anywhere, he bows. So all these are continuous teaching to us by his behavior and by his words. The master continued, when I first heard about you, I inquired whether you were merely erudite or whether you had discrimination and renunciation, Vivek Vairagya, or only learning. A Pandit who doesn't know how to discriminate between the real and the unreal is no Pandit at all. So the Pandit must have discrimination and resulting renunciation. There is no harm in teaching others, no another aspect. There is no harm in teaching others if the preacher has a commission from the Lord. Yes, said in the beginning, your lectures will not produce any impression. So, authorized by God, you can give lectures. Nobody can confound a preacher who teaches people after having received the command of God. Confound means they ask questions and you are confounded. But if you are commissioned from God, whatever they ask, you will be able to reply. Getting a ray of light from the goddess of learning, a man becomes so powerful that before him, big scholars seem mere earthworms. Goddess of learning, Saraswati. When the lamp is lighted, the moths come in swarms. Another thing about lectures. If some spirituality is grown in you, people will come to you. Moths come in swarms. They don't have to be invited. In the same way, the preacher who has a commission from God need not invite people to hear him. Thakur is a great example. He doesn't have to announce the time of his lectures. He possesses such irresistible attraction that people come to him of their own accord. People of all classes, even kings and aristocrats, gather around him. They say to him, revered sir, what can we offer you? Here are mangoes, sweets, money, shawls and the other thing. What will be pleased to accept? In that case, I say to them, go away. I don't care for this. I don't want anything. So, talking about the real preacher, he has come back to himself. Because in this case, it was happening. Does the magnet say to the iron, come near me? That is not necessary. Because of the attraction of the magnet, the iron rushes to it. Such a preacher may not be a scholarly person. But don't conclude from that he has any lack of wisdom. Wisdom के की बोलते बांग्ला में? Oh, ज्ञान का ही wisdom बोला. But Gyan means learning also, and Gyan means wisdom also. So there is an important difference between. How to explain? In the Chandogya Upanishad, Sanat Kumar is teaching Narad, and Narad is asking higher and higher ideas to catch for meditating as Brahman. And there this thing comes. In Hindi, I say, Samajdari. You understand? What to do at what time, that is wisdom. Mere book learning, I will give you an example. Some story I told a few days back. 4 scholars. Scholars means they had different miraculous powers. Friends. So they were going to other country to earn money. Now in passing through the jungle, they saw some bones. Now one of them said that if I see some bone, I can identify whose bones it is. And he said it is tiger's bones. The other man said that if I know whose bones there, I can arrange like a skeleton. And he arranged. Third man said if a skeleton is there, I can add flesh to that. And he did that. Then the fourth said that if full figure is there, I can insert prana in that. The other said, no, don't do. He said, you applied all your knowledge, why should I not apply? And he inserted prana in that, then the tiger ate them, all 4 of them. So lack of wisdom, you understand. Now many villagers, they have much more practical wisdom than learned people. Such a preacher, that means who has received commission from God, may not be a scholarly person, but don't conclude from that he has any lack of wisdom. Does book learning make one wise? Wise means wisdom. So that quality which makes wisdom. He who has a commission from God never runs short of wisdom. That he who has that wisdom comes from God. It is inexhaustible. He is giving his own example. At Kamarpukur, I have seen people measuring grain. It lies in a heap. One man keeps pushing grain from the heap towards another man who weighs it on a scale. So the man who the heap weighs doesn't run short of grain. As he teaches people, the Divine Mother herself supplies him with fresh knowledge from behind. That knowledge never comes to an end. Can a preacher ever lack knowledge if but once he is favored with a benign grace from the Divine Mother? Therefore, I ask you whether you have received any commission from God. Hadra. No, Hadra is intervening. Huh? Oh, yes, he must have it. To the Pandit. Isn't it true, sir? The host of the Pandit replies, he may not have received the commission, but he preaches from a sense of duty. It is a duty to society. So he is doing.
So there is a sentence with Pandit. In between there is a sentence with Pandit.
Isn't it true, sir? Oh, Pandit is replying in between. Commission? No, sir. I am afraid I haven't received any such thing. He stated clearly. So the host intervened and said it was by duty. By Thakur's talk, the Pandit has become very clearly aware. So he said, Master, what will a man accomplish by mere lectures without the commission from God? Once a Brahma preacher said in the course of his sermon, friends, how much I used to drink and so on. Hearing this, the people began to whisper among themselves, what is this fool saying? He used to drink. Now these words produced a very unfavorable effect. This shows that preaching cannot bring a good result unless it comes from a good man. So character is important. The other day, I should not mention it, but it has come. One of our popular lecturers on the Tithi Puja meeting in Belur Math said that Thakur talks of Gulabi Nasha, the light intoxication. Now, I meditated on Thakur, you meditated on Thakur. Do you have what? Gulabi Nasha. So you are telling that in spite of your being sadhu and meditating, you don't have Gulabi Nasha. What is the fun in that? Will it rouse something in the people? Tell something positive. That day there was another young lecturer from Nagpur. And he was emphatically telling everything. You must do this. You have this. You understood? That is the difference. If you have something, tell it. Anyway, not more. Huh? A high government official from Barisal once said to me, Sir, if you begin the work of preaching, I too shall gird my loins. I told him the story of people dirting the bank of the Haldar Pukur and of its being stopped only when a constable armed with authority from the government put up a notice prohibiting it. So that is like command of God. These days people won't accept even that. So I say, a worthless man may talk his head off preaching, worthless man, and yet he will produce no effect. But people will listen to him if he is armed with a badge of authority from God. One cannot teach others without the commission from God. A teacher of men must have great power. That power has to be transmitted. The mind has to be lifted above. That is the meaning of preaching. There's many a Hanuman Puri in Calcutta. Hanuman Puri means a wrestler, a strong-bodied man. So there are many scholars, you will have to debate with them. So there are many Hanuman Puri in Calcutta. It is with them that you will have to wrestle. Pointing to the people assembled there. These are mere sheep. They are not Hanuman Puris. Chaitanya Deva was an incarnation of God. How little is left of what he accomplished. So even a man of God affects people temporarily. Then another incarnation comes. So if Chaitanya's effect has not remained, not to speak of a lecturer who preaches without authority from God, what good will a lecturer do? Therefore, I say to you, dive deep in God consciousness. Saying this, the master began to sing in an ecstasy of love for God. Dive deep, O mind, dive deep in the ocean of God's beauty. If you descend to the uttermost depth, there you will find the gem of love. Now, the original Bengali is Dub 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 Rupa Sagare Amar. That means outside God has form. And through that God with form, you have to enter the depth. That is the song. The master continued, one does not die if one sinks in this ocean. So dive deep. People are afraid. I will lose my individuality. So that is the answer to that. One does not die if one sinks in the ocean. This is the ocean of immortality. Once I said to Narendra, God is the ocean of bliss. Tell me if you want to plunge into it, just imagine there is some syrup in a cup and that you have become a fly. Now tell me, where will you sit to sip the syrup? Narendra answered, I will sit on the edge of the cup and stretch out my neck to drink because I am sure to die if I go far into the cup. Then I said to him, but my child, this is the ocean of Satchidananda. There is no fear of death in it. This is the ocean of immortality. So, now I will tell another thing. There is a common saying that you should not do ati of anything. One of my elder cousins, when I was trying to become sadhu, you know, ati tyagi atak karna, ati darpena ravana, ati rupavati sita, ati sarvatra varjaye. Now, as a student of mathematics, I told, don't do ati of this formula. It is not valid in the field of bhakti. You understand this? So there are certain things when there is no excess. You can love God to the infinity till you lose yourself. Where is the ati? So in worldly matters, ati is different. Only ignorant people say that one should not have an excess of devotion and divine love. How foolish. Can there be any excess of divine love? To the Pandit, therefore I say unto you, dive into the ocean of Satchidananda. Nothing will ever worry you if you but realize God. Then you will get his commission to teach people. So we'll continue. On Monday from Belur Math. Okay. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kaviviridhitam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Vigrunanti Ye Guridajana. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.